And we are live with episode 151 of the Start, Build, Grow Show. What is up, everybody out there, Start Build Grow Show Nation? We are back with another fantastic guest for episode 151. Today, Randy Brothers will be missing. I know it's been a while since he's missed an episode, but he is headed out to California to celebrate his wife's sister's wedding out there. So, Ashley, congratulations on that. But no worries, guys. I'll be holding down the house, holding down the fort today. We got a great guest. We got Mark Levesque with Web Runner. Mark, how we doing, my friend?
Awesome, Nick. Thank you for having me.
You know, we are super stoked to have you on. So for you, those who don't know, right? So I own Suma Media out here in Denver, Colorado. We work with a bunch of roofing contractors across the country, and we've been following Web Runner for quite some time now. They've been putting out some really impressive content. They have some great partnerships, doing a lot of great things for the industry. So we finally got connected. Mark and I had a client that was the same that we were working with. We got connected and we saw that we had a lot of the same values. And we decided to partner up. So we are stoked, man. So Mark, what's going on at Web Runner? How are we doing today, man?
We're doing good, Nick. And I'll add a little bit of context there for those of you that don't know. But so Nick mentioned that we'd been on each other's radar for a couple of years, and we'll have to give a lot of credit to their office mascot. I think Maggie, right?
Yeah, Maggie. You know, she can be loud. She can be loud sometimes. She can be barking at the office. She came in yesterday and she was barking a little bit, but other than that, she's about as cute as can be. She's a mini Australian Shepherd. So, Danae McDermott, she's our creative leader here at Suma Media, and she's got a puppy. I think Maggie's about 10 months old now, or something like that. So, I'm pretty sure Holly spotted Maggie, and that was the start of the connection from there.
That's right. Yeah, Holly joined Web Runner, and she's on our marketing team, and started following some industry folks, and mentioned you guys as having some pretty awesome branding, and we got to check this company out, and then the dog pictures, and then I think it was over from there.
So Mark, we always like to start out the show with a little story time, right? So setting the foundation for those who might not know who you are or about Web Runner and stuff like that. You know, what's your background and how did you get into the roofing space?
Yeah, I would love to get you guys up to speed on that. Absolutely. So my background, let's rewind 15 or so years. I did a short stint at a software company locally here, and I'm based out of Montreal, for those of you that don't know, Montreal, Canada. I worked for a software company that developed technology for the advertising industry, for the online advertising world. And customers of mine at the time were marketing companies, marketing agencies. So I kind of got a lens into what that business model looked like. And a couple of years into it, right, I just got the itch. I threw myself into entrepreneurship and said, hey, this is it. Myself and Kevin, who were working there at the same time, Kevin's our other co-founder here, we decided to start Web Runner. And the idea was to be a pay-per-click company. And, in the beginning, we were kind of industry agnostic. We didn't, settle on home improvement right away. We kind of got sucked into this industry, like I think, many people, thankfully.
That's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens, yeah.
Thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
But, entrepreneurship. We jumped out of a plane and figured out how to build our parachute on the way down. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
But, in the beginning, Web Runner was kind of, like I said, industry agnostic. We worked with all sorts of different verticals. From a marketing perspective, our goal was to be a paid media company. Mm-hmm. That said, we were taking money from anywhere we could get it at the time, right? New homes, families starting, you got to put food on the table. And so, we were taking on mandates that were outside of what we initially intended to take on, creative work, website, branding, some SEO, some content. And that kind of grew, it grew, which is a good thing, but not necessarily in the direction that we wanted it to grow. And I'll spare you all the details, but fast forward a couple of years, we ended up zeroing in on the home improvement space because for us, we were able to focus on one type of customer and provide them one service. And so, I've heard you guys talk about this a lot on your show, and focus is a key ingredient to accelerating the rate at which you can see success. For us, it's been super impactful.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you partnered with Kevin,
Yep.
right? So do you have any advice for business partnerships just as a whole? Because there's a lot of people out there who either starting companies or thinking about adding a partner. Do you have any tips on that?
Yeah, I mean, pros and cons. In the beginning, it's fun, right? Because it's, what are we going to call the company? Let's book the URL and
Yeah, that's
get
good
some
stuff.
logos done, some business cards. It's all fun and games. But at the end of the day, it's like a marriage, right? And Kevin and I have a great working relationship. We're buddies. We both have sales, business development backgrounds with strong, marketing and business acumen. I'd like to think, but we're also very different. And so we've been able to kind of divide and conquer, and that has really helped. So I would say if you're going to get into a partnership with somebody, you got to make sure that there's some synergy there, right? If you're both identical, there's going to be some stepping on the feet, right? So ideally, you got one person who's maybe a little bit better at back office, operations, process, that sort of thing. Maybe you got somebody else who's more, visionary, development, sales, that sort of thing. There's a lot of other hats to wear as well, but we've had some pretty good synergy, so we've seen some success. So our marriage is still strong.
You guys are still having a good marriage.
We're still having
no divorces in sight.
No divorces. We've defied the odds, and it's been we started Webrunner in 2012, and so it's been almost 9 years now.
Wow! Congratulations, coming in on a decade, coming in hot.
Yeah. Still doesn't match me and my wife though. Me and my wife, we've been together for a long time. So.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, so I had a business partner from the start too, and it was somebody that I actually met in college and been best friends with for about 10 years now. And for me, having a business partner was one of the best decisions I could make, especially in the front end, going through those really hard times where it's just like everything is difficult and everything is a learning curve. Having someone to kind of go through that with you, I thought was a huge benefit. Especially because like when you start a business, there's not a whole lot of people that you work with or talk to on a regular basis that you can kind of communicate how you feel and what you're going through, and that they'll actually understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, it can definitely be lonely. And like you say, there's going to be ups and downs. It's inevitable. So you can share the highs, but also important to share the lows. Sometimes you need someone to kind of pull you back up from the lows, and get your bearings straight and just help you get back on your feet, kind of thing. So yeah, that's entrepreneurship. You're going to experience it all. So having somebody to help you through that's important. Also just kind of diluting risk. For us, I always felt two heads are better than one, and so you bounce ideas off of each other. You see things from a different perspective. If you're only in your own head, it's very difficult to see things objectively.
100%. Having that different perspective is a lot of help. So what's interesting too is you mentioned you guys started out kind of providing every service, and then was able to slowly not only niche down to home improvement only, but then also being really focused in the services that you offer. How long did that take you? Because it's interesting, in the roofing space, it's kind of the same thing, right? Where they want to offer all the different services, be the GC, all that kind of stuff. And then eventually, I think as they become better as a business and more established as a business, they actually offer less services to their clients. What was that journey like for you guys?
Absolutely. I think there are so many similarities. I hear, talk with a lot of contractors and business owners about their journey and, the path they're on to growing a business. And I see myself in these stories, and it's so similar to what we've kind of gone through and are going through. So we can really, really relate, obviously minus the, the labor and the materials part, right? Because, growing an agency, you don't have a whole lot of that, but you still have a lot of human capital. So,
yeah,
the same kind of people challenges. But it took us a couple years. It took us a solid 3-4 years to figure all that out. Like I said, in the beginning, decisions were mainly financially driven. I don't think we had the foresight to zero in on one thing, build your brand around that, focus on your, the right partnerships, go after the right, your ideal customer, craft the right message. We didn't have all of that knowledge. We acquired that over time. So we paid the price of admission. And so in the beginning, it was, our circle, family, friends, people with companies, businesses needed help. We were consultants for the most part. So much like in home improvement, in terms of starting out, we subbed out a lot of work. unfortunately. And for us, we became project managers. So it got to the point where we were no longer hunting deals and bringing on accounts. We were, playing piecemeal, patching things together and trying to loop in different companies and making recommendations and referrals. And we were providing value to our customers. We always vowed to do right by the customer. So we never, left anyone out to dry, but we suffered, I think, in the process early on because we worked a lot of hours and it took a lot more time than it should have. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like you said, it's all the price of admission, though. It's the same thing with the roofing company. When you get going, you have no idea what's going on, really, right? You'll take any kind of opportunity that brings money in the door, right? And you don't really have any system or processes behind the madness because you've never done it before, right?
Exactly.
And the more you do it, then it gives you an opportunity to kind of write that down, get it jotted down, and then build from there. So, yeah, no matter what, I think that the service businesses are very similar in terms of business models and struggles that you go with. When people, a lot of people, I think, in the roofing space struggle in marketing in general, right? And I think marketing agencies kind of have this black eye, right? so whenever we get connected with somebody, obviously there's some trust that we have to build in the front end. Now, when people are struggling with marketing and marketing agencies, do you think that, what do you think the common problems are? Do you think that they're not giving the agency a long enough time to produce results? Do you think it's not qualifying and finding the right partner? Like, what do you think you're seeing out there in the space?
I think responsibility could be attributed to both parties, Nick. I really can't point fingers and say, oh, it's the contractors, wrong expectations and they're out to lunch. Definitely not.
Yeah.
The horror stories that we hear, I think there's a lot of people out there who have been sold a bag of tricks. Unfortunately, it's no wonder why there's such a negative connotation around companies like ours, right?
Yep.
And so again, because we've been in the trenches for so long, we got really, really good at listening and, providing kind of an advisory, a very consultative approach to the way that we go, provide value, help our customers, which is very different. It's not, hey, here's a box. This is what is in the box. This is what it does. Here's the price. Do you want it or not?
Yep.
I think the barriers to entry today for marketing companies are so low, right?
That's what exactly I was thinking.
You get a course, you study from some, self-proclaimed guru, get some certification, hook up with a designer or somebody who understands social or content or whatever. Now all of a sudden, great, you're an agency, very, very low cost.
Yeah.
To start a company, much like in the home improvement space.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I know exactly the crew is going to do my installs. Let me go knock some doors or get some leads, and I got a business on my hand. But
yeah,
there's a lot more to it than that. And I think what happens is, unfortunately, people get sucked into working with companies who don't take the time to truly understand the customer, where they're at, where they want to go, what that trajectory is going to look like, and do a good job of articulating that to the customer so that there's alignment. Both people need to understand, hey, this is the plan. This is what's going to cost. This is what this plan should yield in terms of results. Mm-hmm. And nowadays you can do that, and that's what everyone wants to know. I'm going to put money into this, but what's it going to return? Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. And a lot of companies don't want to commit to anything. Right. So
So, I mean, one thing I'm always kind of curious about, and I don't know if there's exactly a right answer to this, but I wanted to hear your thoughts, is like, how much do you think you should invest into, like, marketing that's just going to generate you immediate wins versus things that might be more long-term, like SEO or branding and stuff like that, right? So stuff that's going to generate revenue immediately versus things that's going to benefit you in the long run. Or do you think there's not really a magic number?
I wouldn't say so much that it's a number. I think it's more of like a mindset. I think when you think of marketing, again, depending on what the objectives are, if all you want are, some leads, it's pretty easy to go and get leads. You can just buy them, right?
Yeah.
And so then it comes down to, well, how many leads do you want? That's the kind of number you're going to need. That's the kind of budget. But I think for anybody who's trying to build a business that's going to be around for a while, and they have an interest in building a brand so that potentially one day there's some equity built, they can either pass a company down to employees or to children or potentially sell a company. There's definitely a benefit to looking at marketing really holistically and investing in all of the different channels, right? So there are things that are going to yield results, more short term, and there are things that are not going to yield results immediately, but that will pay dividends long term if you execute on them, starting now.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think you can kind of tell too when you meet with a roofing contractor or somebody in the home improvement space what kind of that mindset is. Now, do you think if I come into the mindset, then if I'm in the mindset, hey, I just want immediate leads, right? Like how much is a lead going to cost me? I need leads. Can you be sustainable with that mindset, do you think?
Time and place, sustainable long term. I'm gonna side more with no. I don't think that's the way that you should. You shouldn't put all your eggs in that basket. I think you need to hedge a little bit. You need to diversify. You need to have different ways to go about generating leads, and ways that provide you a little bit more predictability. You need something that you can count on, that you can rely on. Right? Like we've got customers that can literally send a message and say, hey, turn lead flow up or turn lead flow down. And much like a faucet, we can do that to a degree, of course, right?
Yeah.
But there's a benefit to that. And then, of course, long-term, the objective is to, decrease those marketing costs, right? Get a greater return on those marketing dollars invested, lower that cost over revenue. And so if we're spending money to get leads and it's generating customers, there's got to be a lot of marketing that happens post sale, post transaction, to go and reduce our marketing costs. We all want more referrals and word of mouth. I know you do. I know I do.
Yep. So 100%. So then on the paid ad side thing, one question I have is, a lot of people like to ramp it up, during, especially if it's like a storm contractor, someone who's doing like insurance work and stuff like that. Do you think it's a good idea to have like someone reach out to you and build those campaigns and stuff like that, and those paid ads prior to, like, a decent amount prior to that storm hits? Or like, what's the most efficient way to be setting up paid ads to be ready for storms?
Yeah, it is, Nick, for sure. The notion of being ready prior to when the storm hits is key, right? When the storm hits, and again, depending on the severity of the storm, right? But if it's something that's going to be long lasting, okay, great. You got a bit more time to get up and running, but very unlikely can a company like ours turn out, successful campaigns and web pages and whatnot within, a day or two, right?
Yeah.
If it was our only customer, yes, for sure, it's doable, but that's not the case. And so there's always a couple of weeks before somebody's, up and running, fully optimal. So we like to take the approach of, preparedness. Let's just get things ready so that when that does happen, based on people's geo, that we're ready.
So would it be a situation where you're working with somebody, you're running paid ads, right? And let's say that they're going over residential properties, and you're working with them on an ongoing basis, and then because you're working with that person, you understand that they're in a storm market, you guys will set up like storm ads that are prepared for when that hits, pretty much?
Exactly. Yeah. And there are things that are, we can be pretty self-sufficient in that we can build out pages, write the ads, the copy, the creatives for the most part. And there's things that we can't really do until it happens, right? Like we'll ask our customer to get out there in the field, record videos for social, right? For Facebook or Instagram. So when the storms hit, we get the messages and we reply right back with, all right, great, get out there, get some videos going, right? So that's always helpful.
What do you think of, obviously Google ads, right? I'm sure that's extremely important, but what do you think of Google ads versus Facebook ads? Is it something where you have to kind of be running both? Do you notice one that's more effective? Give me kind of a breakdown on both sides of that.
There's we work heavily in the roofing space, but we also work with businesses outside of roofing. So we work with general, exterior remodelers, roofing, windows, siding, doors, and then kitchen and bath remodelers, general contractors, that sort of thing. Yep. So for some services, we see that there's a benefit to advertising on Facebook versus, let's say, Google. Sometimes it's purely based on the location, right? You could be in a market which is very saturated, very competitive, where your click costs are very high. So you look at a platform like Google, where your average lead can come in at $200-$300, sometimes more, right?
Yeah,
that's up there. So unless you got a good sales process and you can capitalize on those at a high enough rate, the cost to acquire the customer can be really high. So sometimes you can, especially when things like weather affect the cost of a lead, you can generate some pretty affordable leads through a platform like social. But in the grand scheme of things, Nick, I think that again, looking at marketing very holistically, they're better together, right? Mm-hmm. If you are investing in building a brand, people are wrapping their trucks, they're putting the yard signs out there, they're canvassing, the neighborhood, talking to people. You're going to get noticed, right? People are going to start searching for you online. Well, people are going to make their way to your website through your brand. Now you've got a way to retarget them, right? Now, if people aren't searching for you, well, you can retarget them through social and through display. And so I think everything's just got to work together. It's, yeah.
So you're saying because of the retargeting possibilities, that's a big part of it. That's why they go so hand in hand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Especially, if people don't necessarily know what they're looking for, maybe they're looking for, I'm going to use siding as an example because that's what popped into my head, but they're looking for just general siding. They're not looking for a particular brand, James Hardie, right? But when they find the contractor that provides James Hardie product, they make their way to the website, they get all the information they need, and they continue their search. Well, now you're going to continue getting back in front of that homeowner, that consumer, and they're seeing your name over and over and over again. So initially they didn't look for you, nor did they look for James Hardie, but now you've educated them on it. And this falls into more your wheelhouse, the content marketing and the SEO side of things. But there's value to that, right? So you get in front of them with a generic paid ad, and then you can get back in front of them through these different networks.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of Google local service ads? Do you think that's pretty effective for some of these roofing companies?
I do, but mixed opinions. Some people love them, some people hate them. I have some that swear by them. I have some that despise them, right? Some people will say, it's better if you're a locksmith or you're, HVAC, but for roofing, not so much.
Right? Really? Mm-hmm.
So
on Facebook ads, so this is one that so if you go to these conferences, Facebook ads is what people push. Everybody's talking about it. So I think so. I've been in this space for about 4 years, and I remember Gary Vee showed up on stage at, I think it was an IMG conference in New Orleans, right? And he comes on stage. It's my first time at a roofing conference, and he is talking Facebook ads. And I swear, ever since that conference, all that has been talked about is Facebook ads is the place to go. Do you have any tips in terms of the actual ad content, and what are some top priorities in terms of how to make your ad, like video versus image, and then what you need to say or who needs to be in it or what that all looks like?
Yeah, I mean, there's a long laundry list of things there. There's and I like that you bring up Gary Vee because he's a huge personality. Right now, he's not talking about Facebook ads. He's talking about TikTok and NFTs.
NFTs. He got his own NFTs now. I don't know if you saw that. He's got cards. You can go on his site and buy these cards that he's selling, these NFTs.
Which I think is pretty genius.
Yeah, he's always on top of any trend, right? So, that's been kind of the talk right now. And, of course, he's right on top of it, the latest trend.
No, it's cool what he's doing. To simplify it, the way that I tell folks to think about it, number one, if you're not leveraging video, you should be, right? And fundamentally, what these social media platforms want is for people to spend more time on their platforms. And once you understand, that dynamic, it just makes everything a lot clearer, right? So if you're able to engage somebody with an ad, be it in the form of a long form copy ad, or a video that's compelling and keeps somebody engaged for a minute and a half or whatnot, you'll be favored as opposed to somebody who puts out an ad and just, someone scrolls right by the ad. And the same goes for organic as well, right? But in terms of creating content, the way, we tell people to look at it here is think of things in the form of a funnel, right? So you're trying to lead from a place of service. You want to provide as much value as you can. So if you think of a funnel, anybody who's going to go through a path to purchase, let's call it, what's the first thing that they're going to do? It doesn't matter what. If I'm in the market to buy a hot tub, my neighbor just got a hot tub actually, so now I'm looking at hot tubs, right? What am I going to do? I'm going to look at the different brands. What do they cost in terms of consumption? How heavy are they in terms of maintenance? These are all things that lead somebody to to better understand the product, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that if I'm performing these searches, I'm looking to buy tomorrow, but I'm definitely demonstrating an intent by performing these searches, right? So much like on the SEO side, I'm going off on a tangent here a little bit, but if you were to try to create content, you would sit there and say, okay, well, what do we want to create content about? Well, what is it that people are looking for? What questions do they have, right? Let's figure that out. Come up with those ideas, put that content together. Now you can do that in the form of the written word, or you can do it in the form of video. But in terms of ads, that content also serves as great ads, because the last thing you want to be doing is always buy my product, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. It just doesn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you can get behind a camera and just storytell, and there's lots of people in the industry that do a really, really good job of this. It's not hard to see who's really crushing it through video, both in as contractors and just in industry marketers, industry influencers. A lot of people who have been on your show.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think if you can educate and inform people, you start there. So you're not really trying to sell, right? People don't know what shingles look like after they've been hit with hail, right? So to get up on the roof and show, what's happening when you go through an inspection is interesting for a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great place to start. And then when people consume that type of content, as marketers, what we do is we identify those people, and then we serve them more ads, more content, basically. But as they get lower and lower in that funnel, right? If we know people have been to your website, if we know they've been to a specific landing page, a specific URL, if they've been part of, they did a search online, they hit a landing page because of a search campaign, we can bid differently. There's all sorts of things that we do based on what they're consuming. So same thing with video, right? We test all these different creatives, these ads, these placements, and when we see what's working and what's not, you can make better decisions. And I think the expectation is you have to remember that people don't just do a search and buy, or they don't just see a video and buy. Not our services, at least. We're not talking low ticket, e-commerce products. We're talking high ticket, roof replacements or roof repairs. So you have to expect that you're going to have to get back in front of people on multiple occasions. And so you have to plan for that. And they can't keep seeing the same video over and over and over. So once they've seen one of these educational videos, it's great to follow up with a video from Mr. and Mrs. Smith on camera talking about how awesome Nick's Summa Roofing Company is, right? You know what I mean? So it's things like that. That's how you want to think about it.
Do you think that's maybe the biggest issue with Facebook ads is actually maybe two? So maybe not utilizing video enough, and then not really think of it as a funnel, but rather just putting an ad out there and trying to have that be a conversion right off the bat in that first ad?
Yeah, testing. I mean, I'm thinking testing right now, and we fight over this all the time internally here.
Yeah.
And I'm by no means the Facebook ad expert here, right? But the number of times that we'll say things like, "Oh, this is definitely going to outperform," it's video, or we get proven wrong through running tests, right?
Really?
So we've seen images outperform video. Yeah, it's not because, and again, that gets tossed around out there a lot. Oh, video is the best. Video is the best. It trumps images. 9 out of 10. It's not always the case, right?
Really.
And the difference between a winning campaign could be one ad, could be one creative, right? So it's like, and then that's unfortunately the challenge. Brings me up to a good point. You have to have the budget to be able to run these tests. And so sometimes, again, to go back to our previous point, we're talking about why so many people get burnt. Again, people don't do a good job of setting the expectation that, hey, marketing is testing. We're going to throw a bunch of stuff out there, obviously with some intellect, right? It's not like a bunch of guesswork, but we're calculating what we think is going to have an impact, and we're constantly testing and we're optimizing, and we're swapping out creatives and headlines and body copies, and we're coming up with all the variations and testing the different placements. And that requires budget. And when you're very, very, very limited in terms of budget, two things happen. You're limited in terms of the volume of things you can test, and you're prolonging the amount of time it takes for you to acquire data.
Yeah.
Right? On any platform, doesn't matter what we're talking about, right? Search, social. So sometimes you're just limited by budget. And so it takes a lot longer to go and run these tests.
So and I think that's why it's so essential to make sure you find somebody that you trust, right? So when you're partnering with somebody, don't just go with them because you're like, oh, this person's gonna be the greatest or whatever it might be. Find someone that you actually trust, and then also too, another big thing is the budget situation that you mentioned. I don't know what your take is on this, but if I'm a roofing company that doesn't really have a big budget, I probably would not outsource to a marketing company for some kind of lead sources or anything else at like a big level. At least I wouldn't. I would probably try to keep increasing my revenue by doing things like door knocking, all that kind of stuff. Get some more additional revenue, do whatever I can in house, and then from there, once I have some more revenue, invest that, because then I can deal with that time that it's going to take to allow that agency to figure out the crack the code, if you will, right, or be able to generate results for you. But what do you think?
I can't disagree with you, Nick. I think that is the right approach. There's a point where, up until a certain point, it's very dangerous to enlist the help of an outside firm to come and run ads for you. And if there's not enough budget, sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. Just the retainers, the fees, what a company like us would charge to run the ads might not make sense. It eats up too much of your budget. Put that into other marketing vehicles, get a return, get the cash flow going. And then once you can put adequate dollars behind it so that it makes sense, then you go ahead and do it.
And you supercharge it right there. So I want to take a quick break. I'm gonna thank our sponsors real quick here, and then after that we'll kind of dive more into some of the stuff like brand building. We already touched on a little bit about like what to outsource versus what to have in house. We'll talk about that. How to lower your marketing costs. We'll touch on all that kind of stuff. But first, we're gonna go with our headline sponsor, our friends at JobNimbus.
JobNimbus is a fully customizable back office solution.
Track leads, jobs, tasks from one easy-to-use software.
And with the largest ecosystem of integrated partners, if we don't do it, we have a friend who does.
Learn how the #1 back office system in roofing
can help you be efficient, be organized, be professional, and be profitable.
So obviously Randy did not join us today, but for those who do not know, JobNimbus is the system, the CRM that Randy was able to build Elite Roofing on, all the systems, all the processes, and it has been unbelievable in terms of allowing him to scale his company. So if you want to check them out, it's info.jobnimbus.com/roofing-academy. Obviously at the show, our big thing is how can you implement technology to improve your business, streamline your operations, be more successful, win more jobs. So the great thing is SumoQuote actually does integrate into your JobNimbus, so you do need to make sure that you're checking them out as well. Are you looking to stand out with your proposal? SumoQuote is the contractor quote that crushes the competition. It is the fastest way to build custom quotes that impresses clients and wins more work. It's one of those must-have technologies for roofing contractors, allowing them to sell faster, sell more, and sell smarter. Be sure to check them out at try.sumoquote.com/start-build-grow. I know that you're friends with SumoQuote, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I recognize that voiceover talent on that ad there.
You like that? It's pretty good, right? Yeah, I might have another career opportunity right there, it sounds like. So make sure you're checking them out at try.sumoquote.com/start-build-grow. And last but not least, we love our friends at C3 Group.
C3 Group's learning management system allows users access to digital training content, virtual trainings, and integrated chapter exams, all with the goal of helping a student prepare for user certification exams, as well as prepare them for real-world situations we know are faced daily. As a leader in this marketplace, we will continue to add value wherever possible to better our industry as a whole. Join us today and be part of that change.
Make sure you're checking them out. So virtual training, a big thing. Obviously, we have the Roofing Academy, all virtual training. With everything going on in the world, you can still learn, utilize virtual training. So if you want any interest and learn more about Xactimate, getting trained there, make sure you go to www.c3adjusters.com and just click on the tabs that'll be Xactimate training. But now we are back to the show. So one thing I wanted to kind of touch on more was the lead mindset, right? So we touched on this a little bit, but people come and they say, hey, and we'll get this a lot too, if we're doing any kind of outreach to roofing companies and stuff like that, they're like, hey, how much does a lead cost, right? I feel like that has been a big push in the space, right, where people are kind of selling a lead for a certain cost. Is that the right approach, or is there any cons to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's normal question, like you said, comes up often. First thing that jumps to mind for me is that it's the wrong question, right? To me, it's a vanity metric. What does a lead cost doesn't paint me the whole picture, right? Whether I tell you $50, $100, or $250, and I've got three buckets, Nick. Which leads do you want? The next thing you're going to follow up with is, well, how good are these leads? What's the quality mark, right? So maybe the leads at $250, you're closing them at 50%. The leads at $100, you're closing them at 10%. And the other ones at $50, you're at 2%, 5%.
Mm-hmm.
Now it becomes clear which leads you want, and you'll pay $250 a lead because your cost to acquire customers $500 with that type of lead, with that lead source, right? So I think that's the bigger question. It's, and again, unfortunately, you only know that once you've kind of tasted the lead, right? Once you've tried it and you see what your cost to acquire the customer is. So, short of buying leads from one of the lead aggregators where you have a set price and you know what you're getting, whether it's exclusive or not, or what have you, I mean, that's one thing. But when we're talking about the kind of stuff you and I do, where we're putting dollars into marketing campaigns for the sake of generating leads, I mean, it's volatile. Leads are not constant, right? It's not like, oh, well, based on your geo, leads are going to be this and they're going to be this for the next 3 years. Mm-hmm. It changes based on a whole bunch of dynamics, right? Weather, competition, the job we do, right? So a lot of variables there. So it's hard to put a price on what does the lead cost. Mm-hmm. Usually when that question comes up, we'll try to dig a little bit deeper to see, okay, well, what do you want it to cost? What does it need to cost for you? Right? Yeah. Hopefully they're using tools like Job Nimbus and Sumo Quote where they know, okay, this is what I'm setting my appointments at, right? So I'm getting leads, I'm setting appointments at this rate, I'm closing at this rate. Great. We got all the numbers. So now we can start ballparking what budgets need to be and how many leads that's going to generate, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the idea there.
And I think it's all the mindset that you go in when you're looking to work with an agency or a marketing company. If you're looking, I think for someone like us or you guys, a web runner, I think a big thing is looking at us more of a resource, right? Just as you would if you're looking for like a manufacturer or a certain supplier or a vendor that you guys utilize, right? Who's a bigger resource for you? Right? Almost someone that brings value to your company rather than just a lead provider, right? Or another vendor. That's the kind of the way I look at it, right? Because I feel like if someone was going to work with you guys are probably also going to be a resource for them that's going to provide a lot of value to the company.
We need to be, absolutely. Yeah, we need to be more than just a lead gen company, right? Mm-hmm. Lead gen, you can get leads anywhere. There's a lot of options for that. But when you, like you say, Nick, when you're a trusted partner and your customers see you as a player who's on their team looking to win with you, it's a whole different ballgame.
It's a whole different ballgame, and the relationship just grows so much more, right? Where both parties are winning. And so, like, if I'm a roofing contractor, it doesn't matter if it's the marketing or if it's outsourcing something else. I'm looking for strategic partners that I'm going to add to my team that I know are going to fill a void that I have, right? That are going to make my company that much better. And the longer that I work with that person, that relationship continues to grow. You understand the workflow and the company better and better, right? And so, maybe it's a little bit bumpy in the front end. You're learning the company, you're learning everything, and then you guys just get better and better and grow together. And then that relationship continues to grow, and both parties usually win.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm. If there's a good understanding of what both parties are kind of getting into, it's clear, there's integrity on both sides. There's no reason why shouldn't be able to see success. And companies like us and you, relative to what we charge, again, if somebody is just looking for cheap leads, there's a solution for that. Yeah. If somebody's looking for more of that long-term partner, they understand the value that comes with paying a slightly higher monthly fee, monthly retainer, whatever you want to call it. Look at what would it take you in-house to build out what you're getting through an outside company, mm-hmm. through an outside firm. And a lot of times people think, well, I can hire somebody, right? I can hire somebody at, 40, 50, 60K, 70K a year, whatever it is. But rarely will you find somebody who can, specialize in all the different facets of everything that touches marketing.
That's what it is. Yeah. So do you have any tips there on like what to outsource or what to kind of keep in house?
Yeah, that's a great one. a brand is a living thing. That's the way I kind of see it, right? And so it's kind of like raising a child, right? Would you find somebody and say, hey, raise my child? No, you'll probably enlist the help of a daycare or a nanny or something to help you for certain hours throughout the day, but you probably wouldn't offload your kid for the next 18 years. Mind you, sometimes people might want to do that depending on, on how old their kids are, but for the most part, that's not the way people think about it. So I feel a brand is something that you're creating a culture internally. You're choosing who you decide to bring on your team. You're training them. You're making sure that you bring on the right type of customer, right? That you can service, you can provide value to. And so all of these decisions are being made in-house, right? So that DNA is being created over time. And it's hard to bring in a company and say, hey, you know what? I want you to manage all my social media. Post every day to my Facebook page, create my videos, be my brand. Very, very, very difficult. So we're proponents of outsourcing things that don't necessarily need such a heavy involvement on the culture side of things.
Yeah.
Right? To try to attempt building a website in-house, probably not the best idea, right?
Yeah.
Technical things like SEO, content creation. Yeah, you can fire up a blog post. Guess what? A lot of people are not great writers. They don't know how to format the post. They don't know how to build links to the post. They don't know how to promote the post online. So you hire a content marketing company, SEO firm like you guys, and you get that stuff done for you because it's quite technical. But, we're not at the office every day. We can't take pictures of the dog and the mascot and the staff and the new promotions and the new truck wraps. But the good news is, Nick, I think a lot of companies they're aware, they're on the up and up. You see people are really leveling up their content games. I see it on LinkedIn. I see it on YouTube. I'm seeing that contractors are really making the investment and they're starting to understand that content is a way to win.
Yeah, and I completely agree with what you're saying, right? And that's why it's always fun. Like, so if we design anything or we edit things, but it's always really cool when people provide us really good stuff to work with, right? So whether it's internal contests going on or awards that they won, or little things that they going on at the office, employee appreciation events, sales training events, right? Maybe they're doing networking events and they want to post about that, or whatever it might be, right? Team photos that we get to highlight and stuff like that. Getting project photos, getting client testimonials and all that stuff is always a lot of fun. And then working with an owner or whoever your point of contact is that has kind of a marketing mindset is always a lot of fun too, because usually they'll give you good ideas that maybe you and your team didn't even think about, and they're like, oh, that's actually pretty solid. We had a little gap in our content schedule. Now we get to utilize that. That's going to help a lot, and I think a lot of people are gonna like it. Do you have any tips on the content side? Because the thing is, I completely agree. Like content marketing is really important, right? And but I think what's tough is people don't really know what to post. We're a roofing company. What do people care about? Do you have any tips for people who are struggling with creating content?
Off the top of my head, I've got a million tips, and there's like literally none that come to mind. It's that hard and it's that easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite honestly, right? It's it's the type of thing. I think your example there, if you can feed a company like yours the right info, and you're taking the pictures, you're taking the videos, you're documenting things, and you can get Asuma Media up to speed, great. It's easier to go and outsource organic social media management or content creation or whatnot. But I would say for the most part, a lot of companies are just not there, right?
Yeah.
I think people need to look at getting to the point where they can hire at least a resource internally, hire somebody, appoint them to marketing. Again, we're talking about smaller companies now, right? Maybe companies that are sub 3-5 million or whatnot. May not have somebody dedicated to marketing full time, but companies like yours and mine thrive when we've got a point person internally who's feeding us all this content and all this info.
Exactly.
But I mean, in terms of ideas, what to post, oh man, that list is long. We should probably create that list.
It'd be a good blog post. It'd be a good blog post.
Somebody has, but usually what we'll say is, I think you can look at things that are geared to humanize a brand, things about your company, your people, your customers. There's that kind of stuff. There's the educational stuff that's a little bit more salesy, right? So rally your sales team together and ask them, What questions do people have? You're knocking on doors, you're talking to people on the phone, you're talking to them in the home, in the kitchen. What questions do they have? What are the misconceptions that they have? What keeps coming up over and over and over? What do people get wrong? What do they not know and need to know? The answers are all there,
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of, it's like crowdsource it,
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny. So I mean, we know me and you were talking to companies, so many different companies every week, and like I think even the smaller ones, the people that are posting very frequently, I love to see that, right? So we were talking to a smaller company out down south, and I was talking to them, and I was on their Facebook page, kind of analyzing what they're doing, and I was so impressed with just the frequency they were posting, right, and how much the owner got in front of the camera, and it was talking about what they were doing on the roof, right. And having client testimonials and stuff like that. It was nothing too crazy, but it was just very frequent, right? And just showed that they were active. And I think that's such a great start, because if you're able to kind of create like a company culture that's about creating content, right? That your salespeople are jumping on there, doing a quick video or whatever it might be, right? It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but it creates that culture, right? Which is something that we're talking to. Yeah. And now when people are just getting used to it, everybody's just gonna keep getting better and better and better at it, right? And anything that you can do that is like your client selling you rather than you selling you. So like testimonials, case studies, project photos, all that kind of stuff, that it shows social proof rather than you talking about how great you are, is always a good win too.
Yeah, exactly. All the user generated content. I mean, rather than you talking about how awesome you are, get your customers to do it. That's fantastic. I know, just looking at Randy's site with Elite, they're posting a couple times a week, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And you see the blog and you look at the content. And that's another thing too, for people who are looking, for ideas in terms of what to create. Look at the heavy hitters in the industry.
Yeah.
Take a page out of their playbook. It's not that hard. I'm not saying copy.
Yeah, right.
Nobody likes copycats, but I mean, I think that's great. But I will say, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, Nick, because personality has a lot to do with it. Like you brought up Gary Vee a while ago. Mm-hmm. This guy, I mean, that's his job. He's got an entourage of people who follow him around with the video camera and the phones. They're documenting, they're posting, they're sharing. It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And there's people who their personal DNA, their personality, maybe they're a bit more introvert. Maybe they just don't want to do that. To get behind a camera, to show up every day, even every week, it's like pulling teeth. They'll never do it. Mm-hmm. So I would say don't lie to yourself thinking that, oh yeah, I'm going to do this content marketing thing. Do you really want to be the face of your company? Can you be the brand? Can you keep that up? Can you be consistent with it?
Mm-hmm. And, that's really, yeah.
It's not everyone that can do it. I personally don't like it.
You don't like it? Really? You do a good job with it. So I kind of figure you like it.
I despise it. I like things like this because I'm talking to you one-on-one, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
But to show up every day and again, I'm not knocking here. Believe me, I'm singing the praise of everyone out there in the industry who's doing this because they're crushing it. And a lot of times I scratch my head and say we're a marketing company and we should eat our own dog food and be doing a lot of this stuff. But I'm a little bit more on the, let's ideate. Let's come up with all of our, put a plan in place, come up with the strategies, the pieces of content we want to do, record them, batch them, boom. Now we've got ads.
Yep.
I don't have to show up every day or every week and, talk to my phone and look where I am and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And that's hard for me. That's like pulling teeth. So I won't be that person. Mm-hmm. Right. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with it. And I know that, it's probably having to a degree a negative impact on the business. You could probably grow faster, reach more people, provide more value. And maybe it's a selfish thing, right? Mm-hmm. I think some people, they say, hey, it's not about you. It's about them. And you got to give and you're here to serve. I get that. It's not easy though. So props to everyone out there who's
yeah, right. But yeah, but if it's not for you, find somebody right on your company maybe that it is, right? Maybe if you have a number 2 or something like that that's better at it, prefers it. For me, like, I'm slowly learning this. I think a big thing is finding and doing what energizes you, right? So if sales energizes you, focus on the sales as an owner, right? Or running the sales, right? If it's procedures or operations, if that energizes you and helps you, be excited and motivated for what you're doing, do that, right? If you want to be the face of the company and that energizes you, you love speaking and being that face, do that, right? And so I think it's kind of whatever energizes you. And yeah, you had a good point. Follow the big hitters, right? I mean, with Elite, if you look at it with all the blog postings and stuff like they're doing, Denver is an extremely hard market to rank in. It is no joke, and it is not fun to try to find a roofing company to work with that is willing to wait that time to try to rank in Denver into a good spot, right? Because there's like 4,500 contractors in the area, right? It is just absolutely insane. So, but because he put in that time, right, for 8 years or whatever it is, now he ranks very high for those things, right? And another thing on the content side that I don't think we talk about too much is community involvement and like personality too. If you guys are a fun company, don't be afraid to show that, right? If you can entertain somebody, make somebody laugh in some of your content stuff, right? Use that to your advantage. Community involvement is a big one. We did one that these guys that we work with, they give out a free veteran roof every year. And so we did a Facebook Live, right? And then the people on the live could win gift cards and stuff like that. And then we had the veteran hidden, and then we brought him out on the live stream. And then he told his story, right? He had some crazy story that like on his birthday, he was, I think his plane crashed or something like that in the water, and he was like swimming for his life for like a day, and then they were able to rescue him. And then once he got rescued, the nurse that revived him back to life, he ended up marrying. So it was like this crazy story that we were like, man, this could be a Hollywood movie. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And then we did the same thing with teachers, right? We did a teacher giveaway where we helped pay for their like wish list, right? And then we posted all the teachers, and they talked about themselves and stuff like that. And like that was pretty cool. And then we had a grand prize. We brought the grand prize winner and stuff like that. So it doesn't always have to be about roofing either.
No, exactly. And that's why I love this kind of stuff, Nick. There's so many good ideas. Anyone who wants to kind of, level up, there's so much information out there. Shows like this, people like you, being creative doesn't come naturally to everyone. And so if you can kind of piggyback off some of the people that are doing some pretty awesome things, inspire yourself from that, should be pretty good. Yeah.
And one thing that helps when you're working with an agency too, honestly, is like they work with so many different companies that honestly, they get so many different tests and so many different scenarios that they get to work through. And then also the company, I mean, there's so many times that the client that we're working for ends up giving us the great idea that ends up making the difference, right? So we get all the resources of these companies who have great ideas that we end up implementing and helping for our clients too. So it's just like having that to your disposal is a big win for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our customers as well. We're indebted to them. We learn as much from them as they do from us, and it's just leveling up the industry.
Yep. So Mark, as we close it out, so you got the pressure on. We always ask for a golden nugget to close it out, right? So something that you want to leave your the viewers with, where it's something that to implement, something to avoid. It could be a mindset. It could be personal development. It could literally be anything. And usually what we do is we tee up Randy, make him go first. So he's gotten like 140 or 150 golden nuggets. Make him go and then give the guests some time to kind of think about it. But unfortunately, Randy just bailed on us. So I don't think he's going to be here for a couple of weeks now. It sounds like he's going to be out in California. Maybe he'll never come back. I don't know.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. We just brought on a pretty cool team member to our customer success team, and she's from California.
Oh, really?
And all the messages going around internally, we're like, why are you here?
What are you doing here?
What are you doing? But okay, well, here we'll give you two. So I'm going to steal one from I don't know who said this, but basically, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you always got. That's plain and simple, right? So until you acknowledge that you've got a problem and that you need to do something to get a different result, stop dreaming, right?
Absolutely.
There's one golden nugget. And what else? I would say just, go for some lofty goals, like do something bold. I know for us, when we made the pivot to the home improvement industry back in 2018, actually, we focused on home improvement. First thing we said was, to ourselves was, we're small, we're unknown. Like we got to do something bold. And so we hired a consultant. She helped us put together a summit. We made the investment financially. We made the investment in terms of time, resources. There was some risk to it, but we put on this virtual event that drew in a couple thousand contractors. We made tons of connections and contacts, and that was bold for us at the time. So a lot of outreach. People didn't know who we were. We had to pitch them, get them on board for our event, get them to devote, their precious time to take a risk on this small company that no one's ever heard of before, trying to make a name for themselves. And we got some good names, and we're thankful for the people that took part of that. But it started by us taking a risk, right? So we did something bold, and there's a lot of people playing big games out there, and that's how you win, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I love that. And the first one, new growth requires new thinking, right? You got to think different, right? So if you want to reach, new goals and whatnot. And I like the big bold, the think bold, especially when you're small, right? That is a great time to take big risks and double down. And it's crazy too when you do stuff like that. It seems to always work out. If you keep pushing through and whatnot, it seems to always work out and pay off.
Look, I mean, you know what? People listening here. They're entrepreneurs. You didn't become an entrepreneur to play it safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
If you did, you're probably in the wrong business here, right? So I mean, yeah, a little risk is keeps you alive, makes it fun.
Mark, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Webrunnermedia.com. That's our website, also known as a landing page. We don't have a full-blown website.
You guys got great content on there though too. So if you guys want to check out some of the content, make sure you guys check that out.
Yeah, well, props to our marketing team. We've got a good team there, and everybody's pretty committed here and passionate about what they do. So
the design stuff is great too. Everything's on point with the design stuff too. So whoever is kind of controlling the brand alignment there, it doesn't matter if it's the intro to the videos or whatever it might be. It all looks on point, consistent, and so cool. That's awesome.
Well, that means a lot coming from you, Nick, because you guys got some pretty awesome design yourselves. And we're actually, sneak peek, we're going through a bit of a refresh right now, a brand refresh. So
really?
A couple months that should be live.
Dang, exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw your first logo and I was looking at about talking points for today. I was on your video about you as your spotlight on your website. And I saw your first logo, much different.
Yeah. Very old.
I love it. Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us on episode 151 on the Start Build Growth Show.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.